Most people think chakras are just colorful circles on a yoga studio wall, symbols we look at but never truly feel. But when your chakras begin to awaken, it's not just spiritual, it's physical, emotional, sometimes even uncomfortable. And it's real. It doesn't happen only during meditation or after reading a spiritual book. It shows up in your daily life, in the tightness in your chest, the sudden urge to cry, the random nausea when walking into a room that just feels wrong. This awakening doesn't knock politely. It stirs. It aches. It disrupts. Not to hurt you, but to awaken what's been asleep inside you for too long. Maybe lately you've been feeling things that don't quite make sense. A pressure in your spine that comes and goes. Waves of emotion with no story attached. A growing discomfort around certain people, places, even foods. And maybe, just maybe, a part of you is starting to wonder, what's happening to me? Let me tell you something important. This isn't random. You're not broken. You're not overly sensitive. You're not imagining things. What you're feeling might be the quiet voice of your energy system, finally speaking after years of being ignored. These aren't symptoms of illness. These are signs of alignment. You don't need to fix what's rising, you need to listen. Because what's happening isn't chaos, it's remembering. This isn't theory, it's not philosophy. This is your body. This is your breath. This is your truth, unfolding from the inside out. Sign 1. Mysterious pressure that moves. Root, sacral, solar plexus chakras. There are moments when it feels like something heavy is sitting right in the center of your chest. Not pain exactly, but a pressure that makes it hard to take a full breath. Then on some days, it shifts. Tightens like a fist in your stomach or coils around your throat like a silent, invisible rope. It doesn't stay in one place. It moves. It hides. It returns when you least expect it. Right before a conversation, in the middle of a quiet evening, or just as you're about to fall asleep. You try to explain it to someone, but the words feel empty. I'm just tense, you say, but inside, you know it's something deeper. And maybe you've wondered, is something wrong with me? Am I sick? Why won't this feeling go away? But this isn't illness, this is energy. This is what it feels like when emotional density begins to move. Your body is finally starting to let go of things it's held for too long. Fears that never had words. Grief passed down through generations. Moments when you felt unsafe, unseen, or unloved. The root chakra stirs first. The part of you that has always asked, am I safe? Am I supported? And when this root begins to shift, you might feel ungrounded. Like your legs are heavy, like your hips are sore. Like you don't quite belong in the spaces you once did. Then the sacral chakra rises. The center of emotion, of memory, of boundaries long crossed and never spoken. You might find yourself recalling something from years ago, not in thought, but in sensation. You can't explain it, you just feel it, and it lives in your stomach, your pelvis, your skin. Then comes the solar plexus, the seat of your fire, your power, your ability to say, I know what I need. And when this chakra begins to clear, control issues rise. The need to fix everything, to protect yourself, to stay in control, even when it costs you peace. But what if all this pressure, all this tension, isn't something wrong but something finally releasing? What if this discomfort is actually your system purging everything it no longer needs? What if your body is wiser than your thoughts, and it's telling you, softly but firmly, it's time to let this go? So the next time that pressure visits, you don't push it away. Sit with it, let it speak, ask it gently. What am I ready to release? You don't need to fight it, you just need to feel it, and listen. Sign 2. Emotional waves that feel like relief. Heart chakra. Sometimes it catches you off guard. 1 second you're scrolling through your day, and then suddenly a song plays, or someone smiles at you a little too gently. And without warning, your eyes fill with tears. Not from sadness, not from pain, but from something much older, much deeper. Your chest softens like a weight has been lifted, but only just enough to feel the ache underneath. It's like your body has been holding its breath for years, and suddenly, it remembers how to exhale. This isn't weakness. This isn't a breakdown. This is sacred. Your heart chakra, the center of compassion, connection, and vulnerability, is awakening. And it doesn't always open with a dramatic breakthrough. It opens in the quiet moments, the soft ones. You might find yourself crying because someone held the door open, or because a childhood memory passed by like a breeze. You might feel overwhelmed by the way the wind touches your face, or how your pet rests their head on your lap without needing anything from you. And you wonder, why am I feeling so much all of a sudden? But what if this isn't too much? What if this is what you were meant to feel all along? What if you're not falling apart, but finally falling into yourself? What if you're not breaking down? You're breaking open. Your emotions are not enemies, they are messengers, and when they rise, uninvited, unfiltered, and raw, it's your heart saying, I still care. Sometimes healing doesn't feel like peace at first. It feels like everything you've buried is coming to the surface, all at once. The grief you never gave yourself time to feel. The joy you were too afraid to trust. It's all still in there. So instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Try asking, what grief or joy have I stored in silence for too long? Let the tears come. Let the chest loosen. Let your breath guide you back to softness. Cry if you need to. Journal if you can. Breathe as often as it takes. This is your heart remembering itself. You're not too emotional. You're not too sensitive. You are alive. And your heart is whispering, thank you for finally listening. Sign 3. Truth begins to spill out. Throat chakra. There comes a moment on this journey when you can no longer hold it in. The words you swallowed for years begin to rise, like truth clawing its way to the surface through a throat that forgot it had a voice. You might find yourself mid-conversation, suddenly overwhelmed, eyes welling with tears, heart thumping and voice trembling. Maybe it's a story you've never told or a feeling you never admitted, even to yourself. Words pour out. Not perfect, not planned, just real. You journal for pages without stopping, unsure of what you're saying until it's all out. And when it is, it feels like you've exhaled something ancient. And then, silence. But not the empty kind. A silence that feels like a blessing. A sanctuary. A homecoming. Your relationship with communication starts to change. It's no longer about filling space. It becomes about honoring it. You begin to notice how often people speak without really saying anything, and you stop needing to do the same. Instead, you start to speak when it matters. When the words come from a place of alignment, not obligation. Your voice becomes medicine, not because it's loud, not because it's perfect, but because it's true. And equally powerful is your silence, because silence, when chosen, becomes sacred. You stop oversharing. You stop explaining yourself. You stop talking just to be understood. And you begin to ask, am I speaking just to be heard? Or am I speaking to reveal truth? The throat chakra, when it awakens, teaches you that communication isn't about performance. It's about presence. Sometimes truth is spoken aloud. Sometimes it's written in silence. And sometimes it's simply felt without a single word. You start to revere that quiet space between sentences, the one where honesty lives before it finds language. So if your voice is trembling, let it tremble. If the words are messy, let them be messy. They are sacred because they are yours. And if silence feels like a sanctuary, rest in it. You are not shutting down. You are tuning in. This isn't just talking, it's transformation. It's truth unbound. It's alignment, spoken in your most human voice. Sign 4. Lower body tension or grounding urges. Root chakra. There's a kind of heaviness that creeps into your legs, not the kind that sleep brings, but something deeper, like gravity, calling you back to something you've forgotten. Your hips ache. Your lower back stiffens. You might feel like your body is resisting movement or begging for stillness. You're not lazy. You're not broken. What you're feeling is a kind of energetic rerouting. Your root chakra beginning to stir awake. The base of your body is being recalibrated because the old sense of security you used to rely on, control, fear, perfectionism, it's dissolving. There's a reason you're feeling ungrounded. In places you used to feel strong. It's because your foundation is shifting from fear to trust. You might find yourself longing to sit on the earth, to press your hands into soil, or to lie down and just breathe. That's not strange. That's sacred. The urge to walk barefoot, to stretch your spine, or to move slowly. It's your body's way of asking to be present, to be here, to be held by gravity again, because the root chakra doesn't ask you to escape. It asks you to return. It teaches you that real safety isn't about holding on. It's about letting the ground hold you. And so when the discomfort rises in your lower body, ask yourself, not what's wrong with me, but where in my life do I feel unsafe to be still? What would it feel like to belong to the earth without proving, without running, without guarding? This tension isn't trying to punish you. It's trying to root you deeper so you can live here fully, not in the past, not in survival, but here. So breathe into your lower back. Feel your seat. Relax your legs. Notice the ground beneath you. It's holding you. It always has. Sit with your spine tall, not rigid, but noble, like you're remembering the dignity of simply being alive in a body. And if the world feels shaky, let the earth beneath you remind you that not all ground is unstable. Some of it waits patiently just for your return. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to run. Sometimes the greatest healing comes from staying and breathing and being. Sign 5. Waking up sore or emotionally clear, all chakras. You went to bed exhausted, hoping for peace, but you wake up with a tight jaw, sore hips or shoulders that feel like they've been carrying the world. And you wonder why. Why am I sore? When I barely moved? Why does my body feel like it's been through something I can't remember? What if the answer isn't physical, but energetic? What if your chakras have been working while you sleep, doing the deep healing your waking mind avoids? Because when the ego finally sleeps, the energy body begins to whisper. It clears what's heavy, what's stuck, what's ready to be released. Your soul doesn't wait for permission. It begins the work when your defenses are down. It moves the energy through you, quietly, mercifully, and without asking. That's why you might wake with tension in places that hold emotion. Your jaw that never spoke the truth, your hips that carry old memories, your shoulders that still brace for things that already passed. Don't brush it off. Don't call it just a bad night's sleep. This is your body doing the sacred work of release. When you're finally quiet enough to allow it, and sometimes you don't wake up sore, you wake up clear. You open your eyes with no heaviness in the heart, no confusion in the mind, like a veil was lifted in the dark. That clarity isn't random. It's the result of emotional detox done in silence, under the stars, when even your thoughts were asleep. So, ask yourself gently, what have I not allowed myself to feel during the day? Because whatever you push away in the light, your soul holds tenderly in the dark, waiting for a safe moment to let it go. That tension in your shoulder might be a conversation you never had. That ache in your hip might be grief from years ago. That tight jaw might be the silence you kept when your truth needed to be heard. So before rushing into your day, pause. Place your hand over where the tension speaks loudest and ask, what are you holding for me? Stretch the place that aches, not like exercise, but like reverence. Breathe into it like you're loving something back into softness. Or pick up a journal and let your pen speak what your mouth couldn't. Your body has given you the signal. don't ignore its wisdom, because the healing didn't start this morning. It started in the stillness of night. What you do with it now, that's where integration begins. Sign 6. Breath changes without trying. Solar plexus and sacral chakras. Without thinking, you sigh deeply in the middle of a conversation that drains you, not because you're tired, but because your breath is trying to speak what your words won't. Or you find yourself yawning, not from lack of sleep, but from some invisible weight your body is trying to move through air. Sometimes, your chest opens wide and breath rushes in without effort, like life itself just reminded you you're safe. Other times, your breath hides. It flattens, it tightens, it waits. Because something in the room feels false, off, or unsafe, your breath doesn't lie. It expands in truth. It contracts in self-abandonment. It pauses in dishonesty. It sighs in relief. It tightens in resistance, and you don't have to force it. You only have to notice it. Because your breath is always translating energy into motion. This is the quiet language of your solar plexus and sacral chakras, the places that govern power, presence, and emotion. Your solar plexus says, I am safe to be seen. Your sacral says, I am safe to feel. And your breath is how they speak to each other. So when a deep inhale takes you by surprise, trust it. When your shoulders fall without trying, notice. This is not random. This is realignment. What if your nervous system isn't broken, but finally exhaling after years of holding itself together? What if your deepest healing doesn't come from what you think, but from how you breathe through what you feel? Your breath is your first truth. It came before language, before thought, before fear, before pride. It's the only part of you that never lies. So ask yourself softly, what makes me breathe deeply? And what makes me forget to breathe at all? In that question is your compass. You can follow your breath like a thread, and it will guide you to what soothes, what's true, what brings you back to center. Let it teach you. Let it soften you. Let it lead you out of the noise and into alignment, not by effort, but by trust. Sign 7. Losing track of time peacefully, third eye and crown chakras. There are moments when you glance at the clock and realize hours have passed, yet your body isn't tired, your mind isn't racing, and your spirit feels full. You didn't get lost in distraction. You got found in presence. Time didn't slip away. It opened up. It stretched wide to make room for your soul. And in those moments, it's not about what you accomplished. It's about how deeply you were there. You may notice you care less about deadlines and more about timing. Not man-made timing, but soul timing, divine timing, inner timing. This is the rhythm of your third eye and crown chakras awakening, not with visions and light shows, but with stillness, peace, and a soft surrender to what is. The pressure to be fast, to be productive, to always keep up, it starts to dissolve. You begin to breathe with life, not race it. And maybe for the first time, your life no longer feels like a chase, but like a dance. A movement in tune with something ancient, cosmic, and kind. You start to remember that you are not late. You are right on time for the life your soul is creating. So the next time you lose track of time, pause. Smile. Because you didn't lose anything. You entered sacred space. You weren't escaping life. You were entering it fully, without resistance. And maybe the reason time feels strange is because the illusion of control is fading, and what's emerging is alignment. So ask yourself with honesty, not urgency, am I living by pressure or by alignment? What if the real success is not how much you fit into a day, but how much of your soul you bring into each moment? Notice when time expands, when an hour feels like a minute, or a moment feels eternal. That's the signature of your spirit taking the lead. That's not a glitch in your schedule, it's a sign, a reminder, a whisper from the crown of your being that says you're remembering. What you're feeling isn't chaos, it's sacred realignment. your soul's quiet decision to finally come home to itself. These shifts, these sensations, these tears, they're not signs that you're falling apart. They're proof that something ancient and wise inside you is waking up. The discomfort isn't your failure. It's your rebirth. It's your body remembering how to hold your spirit again. What looks like breakdown is often breakthrough in disguise. Your system clearing space for the new truth to land. Energy doesn't only move when you sit cross-legged with eyes closed. It flows when you cry, when you argue, when you exhale after holding it in too long. Spiritual awakening doesn't ask you to leave real life. It asks you to show up more deeply in it. Every breath you take is a message. Every ache is a whisper. Every wave of emotion is a letter from your soul. So the next time your chest tightens, or your legs feel heavy, or your throat wants to speak truth, pause. Listen. That's the sacred language of your energy body. This isn't happening to punish you. It's happening to awaken you. To remind you that alignment feels strange when you've been living out of rhythm. Trust it. Trust the breath that deepens on its own. Trust the tears that rise uninvited. Trust the stillness that feels unfamiliar but warm. Trust your body, even if it speaks in tension. Trust your timing, even if it's slower than the world's. Trust that your soul moves in rhythm, not rush. Because this journey, it isn't linear. It's a spiral, and every step brings you not somewhere new, but somewhere deeper. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your healing needs you to be. The body knows. The breath knows. The silence knows. All you have to do is begin to trust again. If you've been feeling all of this, alone, confused, maybe even like something's wrong with you, let me whisper something your spirit already knows. You're not broken, you're awakening. It's not that you're too sensitive. It's that you're finally becoming sensitive to truth, to energy, to what's been calling your name for a long time, here, in this space. You don't have to pretend. We don't sugarcoat awakening. We decode it, gently, honestly, like holding a mirror to the soul without judgment. You're not here for just content. You're here for clarity, for resonance, for something that helps you finally name what your body has been whispering for years. So if this journey spoke to you, if something in your chest softened, or your breath deepened, or your eyes welled with tears you didn't expect, stay. Subscribe not for more noise, but for more knowing. And I want to hear from you. Which of these signs did you recognize in your own body, in your breath, in your everyday life? Share it in the comments, because your story might be someone else's. Confirmation. Your experience matters. You belong here. You're not meant to walk this awakening path alone. Let's keep listening. Let's keep remembering. Let's awaken together.